Hello, everybody. Welcome to a live stream. I can't even say another one because it's been a while. But hello, everybody. It has been a hot minute since I've actually been live. It's been 2 weeks? 2 weeks, something like that, since I've gone live, since I've really made any content. But I am back today. It is the first day I've had off in a while. Not the first day, it's the third day, because I had yesterday and the day before off, but I had zero energy to do anything on those 2 days off. I was just catching up, recharging after having an insanely long week. An insanely long 2 weeks, actually, and I needed to kind of catch up on my lack of sleep and time because I'll go into detail once more people are here if they come. I didn't announce I was coming live, so it may not be anybody. It might be a really quiet stream. I don't know. Who knows, right? No, I don't really care. I mean, I care because obviously I'm live, so I care, but I mean, I don't really care if this turns out to be a stream where I talk to myself for an hour or two. I'm okay with that. So yes, I don't really have anything planned for today. I don't have any games on the go. We beat why did I want to say Dead Island? What the hell did we beat? Dead Space. Dead Space. We beat Dead Space the last time I streamed, and that was pretty much it. And then Hell Week started at the theater, and so I haven't had a chance to do anything. I've been insanely busy. Just doing a bunch of tech rehearsal stuff, and then the show started running, and so I was doing that. I was really trying to focus on the show because it was a rough time. It was a really rough time, and it was not the best. I wasn't starting on the best foot. That's what I'm trying to say. If I kind of, I always jabber, but if I kind of jabber more than usual, I forgot to take my ADHD meds for a couple of days, and it's really messing with my head right now. So I may kind of go off on more tangents than usual, which I already do a lot. So that says a lot. But yeah, so it was kind of weird, the way that the whole show kind of came together, and I wasn't really feeling confident on the week leading up to opening night. So I decided to just shut my brain off from everything except for the show. And thankfully it came together. There's still obviously things that needed to be ironed out that were completely out of our control. It wasn't anything that the actors were doing or anything. It was more technical stuff, like the sound is just... It's being run by a really young kid, and he's trying really hard, but he's just in way over his head, way over his head. I made the analogy to one of the other actors about how it's like he's trying to climb the K2 mountain while wearing running shoes and shorts. He's just in way over his head. So he's not doing it because he's a bad person or because he's useless. But for this job, he is just way underqualified. So it's pretty frustrating because, as a lot of you know, I was a professional musician for a long time, and I was the sound engineer for the band. And so I am very particular about sound, and it's not even just lacking. It's just not even there. We've done a couple of shows where there was literally no sound backstage, and so we were just singing based on the video footage we could see of the conductor. It didn't work. There were times where we would stop singing and I could hear the people on the other side of the stage finishing after us, and not just by but more way off, because we had no music to go off of. So it's frustrating for somebody that has the experience I have, but at the same time, the show is pretty decent. I'm enjoying it. I've watched some of the filming, and it's been good. Hello, Sushi. How are you? I'm doing really well. I'm tired, but I'm doing really well. But yeah, it's been a weird experience for me in the sense of I haven't been doing this in a long time. I've been off stage for years at this point, and the last two shows that I did, they were far smaller in scope, in audience, in tech, and just technically much smaller shows. And so I haven't done a show of this caliber in at least 8 years, I think. So pretty rusty. But it's come together pretty decently, and thankfully they hired me, thankfully as in I'm glad they gave me the opportunity to actually film the show. So I've been filming it. A lot of the filming didn't go well because I'm not standing at the camera. I'm on stage. So I have to kind of just set it and hope that it's right. And I've gotten unlucky out of all the performances except for one recording. Like one of them, the camera got unplugged by somebody in the venue. One of the ushers just walked up and unplugged the camera, and so they corrupted the chip. Not the chip, but all the footage, which they actually unplugged it 10 minutes after I walked away from the camera. So we hadn't even started the show yet. And the worst part is I was standing right next to the camera when the head usher told the ushers who were going to sit there, do not touch this camera because they are filming. And then immediately after I left, they proceeded to unplug it, coil up the cord, and put it underneath the camera. I was not impressed. So that was a bust. Then I lost one of the chips. So that was a bust. And then I recorded we call them swings, but they're not actually swings. They're alternates. I recorded the alternates doing their performance night, and I didn't focus the camera until right before we were going live, and the curtain was closed. And so I kind of guesstimated the focus. I focused on the curtain, and then I went a little further back, and I went too far back. So they were out of focus. So that was a bust. But I got my last performance got recorded, and it was pretty good, but I only used one camera instead of two, which I like to have two cameras so I can kind of swap out the angles a little bit based on like what's happening on stage. But you know what? After watching that recording and editing it down, it's not bad. I thought it was going to be a lot rougher than it is. I thought it was going to be good, but I didn't expect it to be as good as it is. I'm actually really enjoying the show. Kermit, how's it going? Welcome. How are you? I hope you're doing really well. Hope life is treating you well. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience, a really, really interesting experience to say the least. It's been a really big challenge for me. Actually, the main reason, now that I think about it, I like I said, I'm going to go off on tangents here, on really random tangents. Hold on. So like I was saying, no, I'm not finished yet. We're on our break right now. So I'm back in the theater tomorrow, actually. But then it's closing weekend and we're done. So I stopped doing any content completely, and I was trying to balance both. I was getting really tired. We went through Hell Week, which is, for those who don't do any kind of theater or anything, it's the technical part of the rehearsals, where we start working with the band for the first time, where we actually have to like worry about lighting and set design and actually being in the space, because you never practice in the space until right before you go live. So we had to actually be in the space. Like I said, there's two separate casts, so we had to swap out, which meant relearning things that I hadn't practiced in a really long time in a new space, which was really hard. Obviously working with sound, it was really, really stressful. And then I had to finish, I did some filming for the show. I'm filming the show itself, but I did some filming that's actually used in the show. And there was a mistake with some of it. And so we had to go back and reshoot. And so like, it was a bunch of stuff on my plate, but what made it worse, hello, Michael Jackson, how you doing? How are you? How are things? Thank you for the likes, by the way. Hello, we win. How are you? I hope you're doing really well. I'm actually going to grab my hard drive in a second. I'll show you a little bit from what I have filmed. Anyways, so what made things worse, I was still trying to balance everything, but one night we were rehearsing and I started to get really severe throat pain. And so I stopped singing for the rest of the rehearsal. It was like right near the end of the rehearsal, but I stopped singing for the rest of the rehearsal. And I went home and I cleared my throat and I coughed up blood. And it felt like I was phlegmy. And so like I spit it out, which I think is really gross, but I spit it out and it was bloody. And then I was in severe vocal pain. And so I tore my vocal cords, and then I took a few days off from talking, from singing, from everything. So I couldn't do content because of that. And then about 5 or 6 days later, we had our first rehearsal with the band, and I needed to sing because I hadn't sang with the band yet. And up until then, the vocal director is a nice guy, but he was convinced that I still think he's convinced that I was never a singer. No matter how much I tell him I was. And so he would always kind of come down on me for like being off rhythm or being off pitch and all this stuff. But there's a bunch that went into it. Like I just discovered that I'm going deaf. But we had a piano player who was struggling to keep up with the music because the music that she plays for the show is very minimal, and she was trying to kind of fill in for like the drum. My solo is all drum and bass really, and so she's trying to like make stuff up on the piano, which would then mess with me. The conductor would give me a speed that was different from what the piano player was playing, and I couldn't tell what pauses were happening because she would just stop playing, but it would be like the hi-hat would continue in the actual song, but you can't mimic a hi-hat on the piano. So there was a lot of weird stuff that was happening musically that I couldn't keep up. So when the band got brought in, I needed to sing with them. And so we had our band night and I sang, and about partway through the singing, I could taste metal in my mouth. So I knew I was bleeding again. So I had to stop singing again. And then basically I just stopped talking for the rest of the week until we got to the rehearsal hall, to the actual theater, sorry. And then I didn't sing for all the rehearsals at the theater either until like the night before I was going to go live. And that day I was like, I need to see if I'm capable of doing this, because if I can't, I need to step down. It was a pretty bad vocal injury. And if you guys don't know anything about singing, spitting up blood, like when you have a raw throat from like coughing and stuff, that's not a good sign. But spitting up blood because you've ripped your vocal cords is really not a good sign. Like you can end up with permanent vocal damage, meaning I could lose my voice forever. Not my talking voice, but I'll never be able to sing again. But it was something that I needed to do because I needed to prove to myself that I could do it. I sang professionally most of my life. And so I stopped singing pretty much couple years before COVID hit, and then I did a couple of shows, but then I stopped singing completely once COVID hit. Like I didn't sing in the car, I didn't sing at home, I never sang. And so the fact that this show was destroying my voice was something that I just wasn't willing to accept, because it's not a very hard show to sing as far as what I used to sing. But anyways, I'm telling all this because that is why I stopped doing content, because I couldn't talk. I didn't want to risk my voice. I'm still healing. It still hurts. It's not as bad as it was. Even now talking, I can feel a little bit of pain, but it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. But it was scary. It was really scary. And the one girl that I've told you all about from the show, she got really mad at me because I just wouldn't accept not singing. She's a professional opera singer, so she's like super, super delicate about her voice. And she was not happy with me because she knew how serious the risk was. And if I'm honest, I was downplaying it, so they didn't know how bad it actually felt. But thankfully, something clicked. The night before opening, it wasn't great. It still kind of hurt. I really sang really softly. I didn't do a lot. But then opening night, something clicked with the way that I was singing, that I was able to get through the whole show and it didn't hurt. And now I'm able to sing without it hurting, because I'm finding what I used to be able to do as a singer. So it's getting there. I'm still not a good singer anymore, but it's getting there, which is really nice. I'm doing okay, Weewin. I'm glad to be back. It feels really weird, kind of going back to normal life after I've been doing the performance thing. I mean, I did that for so long. Theater was my life for a really long time. I did it a lot, constantly. And so it's been really nice to go back to it. This cast has been really strange because Field of View, how's it going? Welcome. Wait, is that Mr. FOV? Field of View? I can't remember. I think you changed your name to that, right? But yeah, this cast has been really strange, not in a bad way at all. There's a certain bond actors build when we're doing shows, because we spend every day together and we're doing a lot of really intense stuff together. We're really working hard to make the show work, and we all have to do our part to make it happen. And so we build really good bonds, but every once in a while you kind of catch lightning in a bottle where you just happen to bring the right cast together and they instantly become best friends. And that's kind of what's happened with this show, which I've only ever had experience having that happen once before, which was back in 2009 or 10. So we're talking 13 years ago was the last time this happened for me. And this cast, I'm not friends with everybody in the cast because there's a couple of people that I don't really talk to. Like there's one girl who's like 21, 22. I've got nothing to say to her. Nothing against her. I think she's sweet. She's super nice. Every time she's around, we all have fun, but we have nothing in common. She's really young. I've got nothing in common with her. But then like everybody just gets along. We all really like each other's companies. You know, the star of our show has become one of my best friends in such a short amount of time, and it's been great. And you all know about my crush and all that. So like you guys know that it's kind of not you guys know, but like it's been wild. It's been a really, really cool experience. So coming back to real life, of like back to creating content, being by myself all day, talking to nobody all day. It's been really weird. I'm really excited to get back to the theater tomorrow, but I'm not excited for it to be over, which it's going to be over on Sunday, and that's going to really suck. But it's been cool. I actually have an audition tonight. I have to be at an audition in 4.5 hours. I did the first part of the audition. It was the most embarrassing audition ever, but I just didn't care. I was okay with it. It was probably the worst audition I've ever had in my life, but I played it up and I got a call back, so that's good. So I have the call back tonight, and we'll see how that goes. It should be pretty exciting. Okay, it is Mr. FOV. How are you, man? How are things? But yeah, it's been weird. My voice still feels kind of froggy, like you can hear it. It's kind of raspy. Like I said, it still feels a little bit raw when I talk, but not like it was. There was a while there where it was painful, like just breathing hurt, but now it's hurting right now because I'm talking, but not severely. Like it's not like I'm worried about it. It's just, I think it's just the residual healing. But yeah, things have been clicking pretty well, so it's pretty exciting. Hello, Night Owl. How are you, man? How are things? I hope you're doing really well. I'm doing well. Like I said, I was just saying right before you showed up, going back to the real world kind of sucks. I've been living the whole theater life for the last little while, and it's been pretty awesome. And I'm really not happy that I have to go back to my real world. Not excited about that, but you know what? It's been a really good experience. I've missed doing this stuff for sure, but I've just been on the go for so long that I didn't have a chance to actively miss it. I actually planned to go live yesterday. I planned to go live on Monday, but there was just no way. I was so burnt out from the whole week of like hell week at the theater and trying to get everything done and set up, and the emotional roller coaster of like starting the show and my vocal injury, and like stuff has happened backstage that has really kind of struck a nerve with me in the best way and in the scariest way possible. And so I don't want to talk about it too much because some of the castmates come into the chat, and I don't want to, it's nothing bad about them or anything like that. It's just, I'm not prepared to share. And one of them who pops in every once in a while, she knows everything that's going on, but like, I don't need to reiterate a billion times. But yeah, it's been a real emotional roller coaster. Oh, Michael Jackson, thank you, man. I've missed TikTok. I've missed TikTok for sure. Yeah, it's a huge adjustment between the two worlds. It really is. So I took all of Monday to just like completely decompress. And then Tuesday I planned to stream, and I slept most of the day. It was really, it wasn't that it was scary. It was just really shocking to me because I don't normally nap during the day, but like anytime I sat down for more than 5 minutes, I would just fall asleep. And it was really weird for me because that's just not how I am anymore. And so I was like, wow, I must be like way more tired than I thought. And so I slept most of the day. And then at about 1 a.m, I realized I didn't take my ADHD meds on Monday or on Tuesday. So by Tuesday, I was completely useless. So the scary part is knowing that without my meds, I just go back to falling asleep all the time, which really sucks. But yeah, so now I'm kind of dealing with the getting back on them, because if I miss one day, it kind of messes with me. Missing 2 days has really messed with me. But that's why I didn't go live, you know, on Monday or Tuesday. And then yesterday I spent a big portion of the day editing the video for the show. My first recording. I mentioned this before you showed up too, Night Owl, that all the recordings I've done have had one issue or another. And so none of the recordings have been useful except for this last one. And I edited it because the two girls that I become really, really close with wanted to see the video. So I edited like a really quick rough draft just so they can kind of see what it looks like on stage. But hopefully this week's recordings are going to be the ones that I use for the proper video that I'm making for everybody. But yeah, I spent most of the day yesterday editing that video, and that made streaming a complete bust. So I'm live today. It took a while, but I'm live today. Let me grab the hard drive. I want to see if I can show you guys like a quick snippet of the show, because like I'm pretty proud of it. Give me just a second. Give me a second. Oh, headphones. Oh, I can't hear anything without these. Oh man. Yeah, and that's the you spent ages trying to hide mistakes. So that's the thing, is because this company is community driven, the videos they would send, that they would give us, they were always really low quality. Like they would hire a couple of like film students from the local college, or there were like just like side hustle businesses that like some guy had, that he just happened to have a decent camera, but they didn't actually care about theater. So they would come and they would record the show in one take, and then they would literally just like send us that. There was like any zooming that happened live. They didn't do any kind of editing whatsoever, except for like the end credits where they would include everybody's name and maybe a couple of pictures. But that was as far as they went. They didn't actually like care to make it look decent. And so they hired me to do a whole video thing for them where basically there's a whole dream sequence that happens in the show, in the script, and traditionally there's a bunch of quick changes that happen. There's huge dance numbers that happen, but we have some people with disabilities, like physical disabilities, that just wouldn't be able to do the dance numbers. A lot of us are not dancers, and they just don't have the budget to put in like a bunch of quick changes. And so the director came up with this great idea of filming the dream sequences. And so then the singer would be on stage with just a spotlight, and then the sequence would happen behind them. And then I stupidly, but very proudly, opened my mouth and said, I make content and I know, you know, what I'm doing. I'm not a pro, but I've been doing this for a while. I can make you a video and I'll do better than a college student would do that doesn't care about this stuff. And so the director had a lot of faith in me, which was shocking. I showed her a quick TikTok where like one of the videos where I talked to myself and I showed both of me on the screen at the same time. And I showed her that, and she's like, oh, absolutely. You know the show and I'll trust you. And then I did it, and it came out so tacky, but in like the best way possible, because I wanted it to be tacky. I wanted it to look bad. And it worked really well. And so she was really proud. So like I did that, and she says it surpassed any of her expectations. But because they saw that, the producers of the show asked me to actually film the show because they didn't have anybody lined up. And the people that they could get were literally going to bring like a point and shoot handy cam to record it. Like it wasn't going to be proper recording. And so they asked if there was any way I could do it while I'm on stage, like if there's a way that I could figure it out. And I was like, yeah, I've got two cameras. I can literally set up two angles. They're both 4K, and you want it for DVD. So like at 4K, it's excessive resolution. I can literally zoom in and out all I want, and it's not going to affect the quality that the DVD is going to show. So I offered, and because I love theater, I'm able to like add more things to it to kind of highlight moments in the show. And because I know the show, I can do a lot to it. But yeah, it was really cool. Purple? I don't know if I'm assuming you're asking about Twitch. Yes, I'm live on Twitch. Same name as it is on TikTok. But yeah, so I've been recording every night, and each night I've had an issue. I'm kind of working out the kinks, but I think I've got everything settled. The only thing I haven't decided yet is if I want to continue shooting in S-Log or if I want to just leave it without a picture profile. Because with the S-Log, the beauty is that I can obviously, you know, I have less dynamic range being captured. It's a flatter image, so then I can add the dynamic range that I want, allowing to kind of adjust for the really hot spots and the really dark spots and kind of fix it on the go. But I can never get the color accuracy right. It always looks slightly warm with like a green tinge, and I don't know why. I did talk to the lighting guy about the color that they use on the main lights, and he gave me the number, but like it's still, the color isn't right, and I haven't been able to figure out how to get it right. Whereas if I don't use a picture profile, I get the colors really accurate, but then there's a lot of really hot spots or really dark spots, and I can't fix them as easily. So I'm still playing with that idea. I've only got 4 more takes before I have to get it, and I have 1 take for the one cast. So I'm really, really hopeful that I can figure it out. But yeah, it's been pretty cool. See, and I the last one, the one that I'm going to show you guys now, I use Cine 4, and it just, I think it's Cine 4. I don't know. I think it's Cine something. I don't know. One of the ones that's built into the SV or ZV-E10. But it's still the color. I couldn't get it right, and I don't know why. But let me open this up real quick, just so I can show you all, because I'm actually proud of this for having recorded this in autopilot and me standing on stage while doing it. I'm pretty proud of what it looks like. Obviously, I could have done much better had I been standing at the camera the whole time, because I could adjust things on the fly. But you know what? For not having any help from anybody and doing it myself, I'm pretty proud of myself. So let me see if I can do this. Hold on, I forgot I turned off the camera here. Crap. You know what? Let's just go here. I have my cameras all unplugged because of needing them for the show that I'm doing. But let me yeah, I guess window capture, I guess. Will that work? I don't know if that'll work. Ha, it did work. Cool. So the show, for those who don't know, I'm doing the show 9 to 5, which is based on the Dolly Parton movie 9 to 5, which is about a group of women who are dealing. It's from the women's rights movement that happened in the States back in like the late 70s, early 80s, and it's about those women enduring all the harassment, all the crap that they went through in order to get rights, basically. That's basically what it is. So hold on, I'm just fixing TikTok real quick. I play the jerk. I play the boss. I'm basically Harvey Weinstein. That's what I keep saying when I tell people about this show. I am basically Harvey Weinstein. And I play the bad guy. And it's a really funny show. It's not the best written. There's some pretty crappy stuff that's written into it. Crappy in the sense of like, they could have written it in a better way. Like, one of the things that one of the women in the show pointed out, which I hadn't thought of until she said it, was they still needed a man to save them at the end, which is really stupid because it's supposed to be about like women doing it without men. And they still wrote in a man that like gives them the solution last minute, and it's just kind of like, that's dumb. Or like the ending is just kind of like, and everything worked out, and it's like, but there's stuff that shouldn't have worked out, but it did. So that part's kind of like weird, but I'm pretty proud of this. I'm not going to show you a whole bunch because obviously copyright issues and stuff, but like time for a clone machine, absolutely. You thought you've seen purple in the description. I think it says that if you want to catch the full window, you have to check out purple. I was meaning Twitch because I get banned a lot on TikTok because of their AI just sucks. So I think I mentioned purple as in like, you can come check me out on Twitch or YouTube. That's what I meant. Okay, so I'm not going to show the whole opening number, but like you can see Dolly Parton is going to be all like, hey there, everybody. Is the volume up? It is. Sounds really quiet.
One,
It's really quiet for some reason.
When I hear that sound, it takes me back to a time before computers and cell phones. Back when apples and blackberries.
It's really weird that it's so quiet.
Well, we're going back to 1979 when a gallon of gas.
Why is it so quiet?
6 cents. Shag rugs, pet rocks, and disco were the hottest things around, and it seemed like your whole life existed between the hours of 9 to 5. Back then, there was no such thing as office assistants. We were just secretaries. And
That's why.
wasn't interested in no women's movement. Well, unless, of course, it was happening under his desk.
Your husband's birth year? I'm not going to show all the intro, but see how it's kind of like really warm. Well, this is really warm on stage anyway, but like the colors just don't look right. Well, let's fast forward a little bit. Further. Okay. I don't know how to do this dance number. It's embarrassing. For those on Twitch, the guy that's right there, that's the spot I usually take. When he's my character, I'm his. The girl in the middle has like become like my best friend. But see how the colors are kind of weird? So that's the opening number. How's it going, Icy? How's it going? I hope you're doing well. Sorry, I was reading one of the chat messages. I hope you're doing really well. But I'll show you how much of a jerk I am because I'm a complete and utter jerk in this show. So this person, this blonde, is supposed to be Dolly Parton. In the movie, it was Dolly Parton, and her name is Dora Lee. Like it's Dolly Parton. A little background, she is my secretary, but I am like totally trying to get with her. Like to the point where a little bit earlier on, she's putting on a scarf right here, where I go up to my like second in command basically, and I've asked her to get me a scarf for my wife, and then Dora Lee walks in and I give Dora Lee my scarf because I'm obviously a jerk. And so I've just given Dora Lee my scarf at this point. But Dora Lee's married and has zero interest in me. But, you know, slimy dude. That's what I do. Hence the mustache and mutton chops. But I'll show you a little bit of my number. And then we'll kind of just... I'm not going to show it all, but I'll show you some of the stuff that I do that's like super slimy.
Let's get back to the letter. I'll get it.
Sure you don't need a little help? Like, so slimy.
Should we get started?
To all regional managers from Franklin Hart Jr., in regards to tardiness, any employee who is late should be deducted pay. Oh, my sweet dear Dora Lee, you don't know what you mean to me. Pretty gross, right? Without you, you're so efficient and alert, and the way you look, well, shit, that don't hurt. Please don't think I'm just a flirt, it's just I'm nuts about you. Here for you, I'm here for you. I want you so, I truly do. My body is your instrument. Wow, 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 wow. Please play it. Sincerely yours. No. Firmly yours. Franklin Hart Jr. Like, so dirty, right? Like, so dirty. It's just that you stay on my mind every minute, all the time. I've got to do it, make you mine. I hate hate that stupid ladder. She fell off of it on one night. Ready? This gets worse. This is how gross my character is. Watch this. This wasn't planned. She doesn't normally lift her leg like that. But yeah, so that's my number. Yeah, so traditionally he does, like, he tries to look up her skirt the whole time, and normally she's a little bit more to the side and she's just bending over, and so like when I lean over the couch, it looks more like I'm trying to look up her skirt, but not really. But that day, because the ladder had broken the night before, she left the ladder in place and didn't want to move it. So when I went to go and like look in the position I normally look in, she was there. And so I slightly moved, but then she just happened to lift her leg up, and it wasn't like she did it on purpose. It was just, those are the movements she does while she's up there. And so she did it, and I just happened to have to do my positioning at that exact time. And it just worked really well to have me looking up her skirt perfectly. But that's literally how my character is the whole show. Like, the whole thing of my character is to be a complete and utter pig. I'm not going to show the rest because obviously I don't want to get like copyright strikes and stuff, but like it's gross. It's gross, but it's so much fun. And thankfully, the two women that I do the show with, there's three women, but one of them I barely talk to, and we don't really have a lot of interaction on stage. Well, no, we do. We have one big interaction on stage, but her and I don't really talk, but the other two women and I have become really close. So thankfully stuff like this doesn't feel uncomfortable. The very first time it did. I think I mentioned it when I first started doing rehearsals for the show, that I was really uncomfortable because I was convinced that the actress playing Dora Lee was like 10 or 15 years younger than me. Turns out she's only 5 years younger than me, so we're a lot closer in age, so it was a lot less stressful at that point. But it was still really weird because I had just met her, and I needed to, like, the first thing we did blocking wise is for me to like pick her up and like straddle her on the couch, which happens immediately after this. And it was really weird for somebody that I hadn't met yet, or hadn't really gotten to know yet. Now, like, we're super, super close, you know? But it was fun. Thank you, Michael Jackson. Thank you. Michelle, hello. Ian, hello. How's it going? How are you? Shit, that don't hurt. For those who are on TikTok, Ian is the person that I was pointing out earlier, where I was like, when he's my character, I'm his, and I was pointing him out. That's Ian. So he does this number on the night that I don't do it. And we do it slightly differently, which is really interesting to watch because we have two similar but different takes on the same character. So for me, it's really interesting watching what choices he makes versus the choices I've made. And we had a really scary moment right before opening where we found out one of the cast members had COVID, and then the next day we found out the other cast member had COVID, and the second person to catch COVID was the person that plays the blonde when the blonde I work with isn't doing it either. So like, the three women and myself don't do the show, and then four other people take over. And so the blonde in mine had to do the show with Ian, with the other cast. And it was really, really interesting watching them work together because they do things so separately and differently. And then they had to kind of mesh, and there was no rehearsal. It was just like, good luck. It was really interesting to watch. It was really, really interesting to watch because I was backstage because I only do a couple of things on the nights that I'm not doing that. On TikTok, I posted a TikTok of me standing downstairs, just kind of listening to, actually, Ian was singing this song when I was filming that. But like, I was really interested watching to see their interactions because they're so different. It was cool. It was a really cool experience. Oh, dude, when the band cut out, I was just talking about the sound at the beginning. Poor Maddox, you know, he's trying his best, but damn, he's in way over his head. That was, that made me so angry just because I'm a sound tech and I hate it. Yeah, no, it went fine, but damn, I hate when that happens. I hate when that, and that's the only criticism I've heard about the show. Everybody keeps saying, well, I heard a criticism about me directly, but the biggest criticism I hear about the show is that the sound sucks. They're like, the show's good, the sound sucks, and it takes away from the show so much, and that really, really breaks my heart because it is a pretty decent show. It's much better than I thought it would be, but it sucks that the show is suffering because of the sound. It really sucks. But yeah, no, thankfully I haven't heard any negative criticism except for one critique about me in particular, which I already knew, and people had kind of argued with me about it being, whoa, that's so loud. Some people had argued with me saying that I was just in my head and it wasn't actually as bad as I thought, but then somebody random critiqued exactly what I knew I was suffering with. But that's the only critique I've really heard about the show, outside of the sound anyway. Well, thank you, Ian. I appreciate it. You've done a good job too, man, especially because you haven't had many chances to actually run it. So it's impressive what you guys have done. It's more impressive what you guys have done. But yeah, overall, I think most people have really enjoyed the show. It's been fun. It's been really hard. There's been a lot of like ups and downs all over the place. It's been, yeah. I'm not happy that I'm going back to real life. I don't like real life right now. Oh man. Yeah, the only criticism I heard, and it was directly about me, was everybody sings really great except for the mustache guy. He's kind of flat. But I have been flat, so I knew it was happening. I knew it kind of sucked, but I'm also rewatching the recordings, right? And that was the thing, is when I told people in the cast, I was like, I'm singing really flat. And they're like, oh, it's in your head, you're just making it up. And it's like, no, I'm watching the recording, I'm singing really flat. And then a random person in the audience said that. And I was like, yep, I'm singing really flat. But it is what it is. You know, I'm singing through a vocal injury. I haven't done this in a really long time. My voice sucks compared to what it used to be. So yeah, it is what it is. But that's the only criticism I've really heard outside of the sound sucks. And the people that said that were there on the Friday, which the sound sucked on Friday. Like the sound was horrendous on Friday. Saturday, it got better. It was a nightmare for us, but it wasn't as bad in the house. Then you had the band cut out, but by the Saturday afternoon, the sound was a million times better out in the audience. And then Sunday, the sound was great. Mostly in the audience, a little bit rough for us at the beginning. But yeah, it's the only criticism I've really heard at all was that the sound sucks. But outside of that, they're like, the show is fun. It's good. The actors are great. You know, it's come together really well. It's been fun. Yeah, and that's it, right? Like it's more of a storytelling moment. So and it's character building. You're not really trying, like I'm trying to sound nice, but that's because my voice is so weak right now that I need to try my hardest to sound nice to just sound decent. But yeah, the number is definitely more about creating what Hart is and how gross he is. It's just establishing his nastiness. So like the actual notes don't matter. It's just about showing people how gross Hart is, which is definitely a big bonus to flat notes and stuff, because the flat notes just kind of work in with that grossness. Like he's so overconfident and kind of sucks. But yeah, I'm not used to hearing that I can't sing. I mean, I know I can't right now, but I'm really not used to hearing it. But it is what it is, you know? It's life. Hello, Moa. How are you? FOV, it's mostly the guy running the sound, because he's not really the sound engineer. He's just some kid. The equipment's pretty decent, but they've rented equipment that is having some issues connecting. So we're randomly getting like weird pops and crackles in the audio because there's just an issue with the rack of microphones that they've rented, because they're all wireless labs, and the actual like receivers are having some issues that are sending crackling out to the sound engineer guy. sound tech. He's not really an engineer. He also doesn't really know what he's doing. Like, he sets a basic standard for the gain on the pack, but doesn't actually take into account how loud the person using it sings. So, like, Kendra, who's the blonde, is a professional opera singer. She's insanely loud. Like, when the three women are singing together, she outpowers them like tenfold. And that's not talking about quality of voice or anything. The other two girls can sing. But Kendra's an opera singer where they don't use microphones. So she is insanely loud. And they have her microphone almost at nothing, and it distorts like crazy. But it's because the gain on the pack is way too high. But this kid is inexperienced and doesn't realize he needs to set the gain for each singer before he sets the volume into the house. And so she distorts, I distort, because I'm very, very loud when I sing as well. There's a couple people that distort. And so he doesn't really know what he's doing. He's also unable to understand certain things that we try to point out to him. Like the person playing Violet, who's like pretty much the lead of the show, she had a hot mic. Basically, her microphone was just on, and she was downstairs in the dressing area where we just kind of wait around, and a whole scene was going on, and you could just hear her talking the whole time. And it wasn't her fault. The dude set something up wrong, and then you could hear her talking for the whole scene. And so the next day when she did her mic check, she went downstairs and you could hear her talking again. So I'm like, hey, we can still hear her. She's got a hot mic. He's like, no, she's muted. I was like, I can hear her. He's like, no, she's muted. You can't hear her. I'm like, I can hear her. She's downstairs. I can hear her in the microphone. And he's like, no, you can't. Like, he was arguing with me. And I'm like, I'm literally standing at the speaker. I can hear her, dude. So it's just really frustrating when, like, I'm telling him there's a technical issue. And so he spent like 20 minutes trying to fix it. He finally thinks he fixes it. And then the actress who plays the blonde runs upstairs. She's like, nope, it's not fixed. I can still hear her downstairs. And so instantly I clicked. I was like, he turned off the monitors. He didn't turn off her microphone. And I said it to him and he ignored me. I tried to say it again, and one of the producers came up and he's like, everybody stop talking, leave it between the actress and him. I knew we had no monitors. And as soon as the show started, everybody else realized we had no monitors. And by then it was too late for him to fix it. So we did the whole show without monitors. It really sucked. So it's just kind of frustrating because, like, I don't know their system, but I know enough about sound that I could help him, and I'm not allowed to. So it's just, he's in way over his head. He just doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't have enough experience. And so it's kind of frustrating at times because he just sits in the booth. He doesn't actually go around the house to check that things are working. And so it's really, really frustrating sometimes. And then as far as like the actual sound design, there hasn't really been a sound design. We had a guy come in that works for the place that runs the theater, who kind of came in and just worked out a few of the kinks, but he still didn't figure everything out. And even like for me, I don't have it here. I have a Zoom H5, which is like a pretty decent audio recorder. And the idea was that they were going to send me 2 feeds into the recorder, one for vocals, one for music, so I could use it in my mix. And when I went home and checked, it only had vocals and no music. And then I asked the sound engineer and he had no idea what I was talking about because he was sending me both feeds, but the feeds aren't there. So it's not there. So they did something wrong, but they just refused to listen to me. So that's why the recording sounds so hollow, because I'm just relying on like a shotgun microphone. So it's a bit of both. It's a bit frustrating, but it is what it is, you know. He's a 19-year-old kid who doesn't really have experience. Nobody else is going to do it, so we're just dealing with what we've got, you know. The H4n, yeah, I went for the H5 or 5H or whatever it is, because it's one of the more modern ones, and I thought it would, like, I had been looking at one for a really long time, but I couldn't pull the trigger. I think we had talked about it before. You were saying about like using external recorders instead of on camera. And I was like, this was years ago. This is like when I was still using the A5100, and I was really like, yeah, levels should be tested. Yeah, Ian, absolutely. And he just doesn't do it. And we get a lot of distortion. Poor Kendra distorts so badly, and it's not her at all. And so, of course, her volume's down, and then she can't hear herself, so she doesn't know she's magnified. But it sounds bad when she starts belting because it distorts, and there's nothing we can do about it because they didn't do their job right. Anyway, I I'd been looking at that recorder for a really long time, but I couldn't justify it for TikToks. And then this opportunity came up and I was like, you know what? I'll pull the trigger on it, and it'll also just give me more freedom for things if I'm out and about, or even for my own videos where I don't have to have a giant cord reaching out to the shotgun microphone, because it's just going to be there with the shotgun microphone. So I can be recording in different positions and not have to like add the whole, like, how am I going to hide this wire from being on scene? Because there have been many times I've filmed the whole video and you can see the damn wire just hanging out. So it was worth it. I really liked the recorder. I had a big heart attack because the day I bought it, I left it at the theater. Oh, it was really scary. But thankfully, somebody found it and they put it away. But the school is also a school for millionaire kids. It's at a school. It's a private millionaire school. So those kids don't care about that thing, because to them, that's like ghetto. To me, it's expensive. But they just didn't care. So nobody took it, thankfully. No, only once, which is nice. It's still a little bit complicated to use. I think that the 4, you can actually like rotate the microphones to put them in 2 separate positions. This one seems like it's fixed in place, or at least I haven't figured out how to move it. The only thing that I found weird, because I use Mac, the Mac won't open the WAV format files. So I recorded an MP3. Because what I did for the recording I just showed, I actually put the recorder just in the band pit and recorded the band directly, and then used my shotgun microphone to pick us up. So then I could use the recording of the band to just kind of boost some of the bass and like make it a bit darker, because it just sounds way too hollow. But it recorded at a hair of a difference in speed. So by the final number of Act 1, they were like a second behind each other. So it wasn't enough to be like, oh, okay, the recording is like way off, but it was enough that as it progressed, because the first act is like an hour and a half, it was enough that by the hour and a half mark, it was almost a second off. So it was really, really weird, because they both were the same recording. So technically they should be the same, but they recorded at a slightly different speed, which is really weird. I don't know if it's because it's MP3 versus WAV, but I can't get my Mac to open up the WAV, and I just didn't want to have to convert it, but I'm probably going to record the next one in WAV. But yeah, it's such a nice recorder. The band sounds really clear with that thing, and all I did was just like set it at like the minimum volume, and the conductor just put it in front of him on the floor. And it sounds really good. I was really impressed at the fact that it did so well. I turned on the limiter to make sure that I hopefully wouldn't peak too much, and thankfully it didn't. It sounded awesome. But yeah, because the timing was off, it was really hard to fix, because it was off. No, it wasn't even a whole second. When I did the first half, it was off by half a second. So like enough that it was audibly there, that it wasn't synced up properly. Even this isn't fully synced up properly. But this was a rush job. But it was enough that it was off, but it was too much that I couldn't just set a number. So what I ended up having to do was actually edit the whole video, then put the audio in, and then splice the audio so it ended and began audibly at the same time that it ended and began audibly in the video, and then see the timing of the video and then manually input that timing into the audio so it would crunch it to the right size. It was really hard to do. It was really, really hard to do. But for some reason it recorded that way, and I don't know why. But yeah, you know what? For having the camera run on automatic, I think it looks okay. It's not bad at all. At 48 kilohertz, yeah. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I had it set at for the original WAV format that I did. But because I couldn't convert it, I wasn't sure if it was that it just wasn't readable on the Mac, or if it was an issue with like it being a unique file format and then having to convert, and I was worried it was going to cause an issue, or if it was just that it wasn't recording properly because the chip I'm using isn't good. So I tried MP3, and then that's what happened with the MP3. So I'm going to try again with WAV, and then try to see if I can convert it and if it won't mess with it, or figure out a way to get like a plugin that'll read WAV format on Mac. I don't know. We'll see. Or I edit everything on Mac and then I bring it over to PC and then just sync the sound to it and then leave it that way. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, record at 44 and it slowly goes out of sync. Okay, so that's probably what it was then. That's probably exactly what it was, that I was just at the wrong frequency. That's probably what it was. But overall, it's been it's been an interesting show. I've had a lot of fun with it. You know, there's some really, really funny moments. There's some really creative moments. Oh, I can show you kind of, I'm not going to show it all, but I can show you for Night Owl, the stuff they had me film for the show itself. So here the women are talking about the different ways they wish they could kill me. Because they just hate me so much. They get stoned in the show, and then they think about the ways that they would kill me. And so each one has their own genre. And so this one is like film noir. She even describes it at the beginning, like picture a bunch of gangsters all wearing like their hats and everything, and they're at a club and it's dark. So it's very film noir description. And even when they do it on stage, they're all dressed like film noir gangsters. So I leaned into the film noir look for the video. And I think it turned out really, really well. I really enjoy what it looks like on camera. But yeah, like... And it's so hard because the band is trying to actively time themselves with a silent film, so they play at the time that the video is recorded in. But see how it's very like spy 1940s film noir? God, you're sexy, I must say, or I'd have noticed you. I bet you're quite a dancer. Right? Like... You saw the behind the scenes? Yeah, it was really fun. I felt like a movie director. It was so cool. I was like, I really do enjoy doing this stuff. So that's the film noir one. And then the second one, I kind of themed after... Oh, what was that old show called? I can't remember now. But it was some old like cowboy show. And I kind of filmed it with one of those like really tacky variety hour shows with like the old like 80s, 70s cowboy era stuff that used to be seen a lot. And so like I did it very, very tacky on purpose. Thank you, that's very kind. Well, put it on. I want to see it on you. I want to try the whole package if you get my drift. Yeah, like rawhide, like just very tacky. But all three of us trying to time this is so hard because it's her, myself, and the band all trying to match. Because there's obviously, she's singing, I have lines in between it, and the band has to play it. But the band has cues where I'm supposed to say my lines. But if it doesn't match with the video, then it looks really weird because we can never get the ending right. The ending, there's supposed to be certain actions that happen to the rhythm of the song, and it's just impossible for us to get it right. So we've kind of just thrown that out the window. But like... If it doesn't match up, it looks really weird that my character is looking at the camera and shaking his head and I'm not saying anything. So it's really hard for all four of us to time it. And we've gotten pretty close. I got to give it to the conductor for really working hard at getting the band to stay in rhythm. And then the third one is full blown, like tacky Disney, like over the top Disney. You know what I mean? And it looks blue just because of the color of the lighting that we're using versus the monitor. In real life, it's colored properly. But like it's over the top, like Disney-esque, but like straight to DVD, straight to VHS Disney. You know what I mean? And then I get to play the evil prince in my evil castle. Right? So like I had a lot of fun. Oh, shut up. I don't even know who you are. You're not calling me right now. I had a lot of fun filming that. It was really challenging because, you know, I had to fit a huge chunk of the cast in front of a tiny green screen, and then try to edit everything out so the green screen worked. And then there was some stuff that they actually like were outside of the green screen, so I had to like frame by frame cut them out so it would kind of fit. And it was so fun. It was so fun. And although everybody is friends in the cast, I don't think they, like a lot of the cast, I don't think they really believed what I was going to pull off. Like I thought they imagined it to be like really poorly done. I thought they thought it was going to be really, really bad. And And then they all saw it and they lost it because they loved it so much, because I leaned into the tacky. I wasn't going to make it, I wasn't going to try to make it look professional, because it kind of takes away from the whole idea. The whole idea is these girls are stoned and they're having crazy stoner dreams right now. So I really wanted to lean into like the heavy tacky factor. The only one that looks the way it's supposed to properly look was the noir one. And that one fully looks like a real noir movie scene. But the other two, I fully leaned into the making it look really tacky. And everybody seems to have been very surprised by what I was able to accomplish in such a short amount of time. Because from the first day we filmed to the day that they were ready, it was only 3 days. And so they really didn't expect it to come out at the quality it was. And I'm very proud that I was able to accomplish the quality that I did. And I had a lot of fun. Like, I had a ridiculous amount of fun doing it. I didn't think it was going to be as fun as it was working with other people, because I always do videos on my own, right? So I'm used to being in front of the green screen on my own and editing my own videos and stuff. But I didn't realize how much fun it was going to be doing it with other people. And then the end result was so much better than I ever imagined it being. Like, I thought it was going to be good, but I didn't realize it was going to be as good as it turned out. And I freaking love it. And it was really fun. And when I saw those behind the scene pictures that Ian's fiance took, and she posted some of them, and I was like, holy crap, like, I look like a movie director. It's so cool. I mean, I got a tiny little camera. I don't have any crew, but it was cool having all my lights set up and my green screen and everything. It was a really cool experience. You know, it was awesome actually working on a project that wasn't just my own vanity thing, and it wasn't me doing something for content, because in the end, the content stuff, a lot of people aren't going to see. And the people that do see it, well, I'm a content creator. That's kind of what I do. And it's by me, for me. So there's not really, like, if it sucks, well, whatever, it sucks. But there was like people to actually not let down in this. And it was like directed, and there were actual like steps and choreography that was put into it, and trying to get people to do what we needed. It was such a cool experience. It was such a cool experience. It reminds me of why I liked when I used to do short films and stuff as an actor, because sometimes the director or the cinematographer would allow me to kind of partake, and I forgot how much fun it is. It was so much fun, especially when things went wrong and I had to try to fix it. Yeah, it was a headache, and it really sucked having to fix it, but it was a nice challenge, you know? And I'm pretty friggin' proud of how it all turned out. Yeah, I didn't expect it to turn out the way that it did. I've had a lot of fun with this show, and it's a little bit sombering to think that it's going to be over in like 4 days. That's it. That it's going to be over in 4 days, and then I'm going to go back to real life. But it has also upped my own drive to do more content. Do you know what I mean? I have no ideas for content right now. I've got zero ideas. I've been staying away from the gaming world because I've been so enveloped by the show. But it's definitely driven me to want to make more content, because I don't know, I just had a lot of fun. But I was saying earlier, I have an audition tonight. I have to be there in about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And I might continue to be very, very busy. I don't know yet. But yeah, everybody that's seen it already, everybody that's gonna see it has seen it already, except for my brother, but that doesn't really count. But yeah, it can be so motivating. And like, when I offered to do these videos, it was one of those moments that I opened my mouth without thinking, but I also like instantly regretted it, because the way it came about, them asking me to even do the videos in the first place, was the director said, we're choreographing this stuff, but I have this idea. We're not going to actually do it live. I want a video. And then you guys will sing it live, but the video will be in the background. And she's like, and we're looking at hiring a couple of college students to do it. And the arrogant me the arrogant side of me remembers the kind of college students they've hired in the past. And nothing against college students. They're obviously learning an art and a craft, and it takes years of experience to get really good at it. But they're still students, and they're not going to be invested in this. It's just a quick opportunity for them to add to their resume. It's not really something that they're going to, spend an obscene amount of time doing. And so as soon as she said that, I was like, I do videos. I can just do it for you. Because they were going to have to hire somebody. They were going to have to pay these kids to do it. And I was like, I'll do it. And she's like, do you make videos? I was like, I have a whole social media thing. I'm like, I do videos all the time. The whole time going, shut up, you can't do this. And she's like, okay. And she got really excited. And then at that point it was too late. So I was like, all right. And I came home and I was like, such high anxiety because I was like, I can't do this. I don't know what to do. I'm not creative. How am I going to make these videos work? And her original idea was literally just to do it on stage and film the production on the stage. And then I was like, no. When I sat down and thought about it, I was like, no. We're going green screen. We're going full green screen, and I'm leaning into the tacky. And so when I told her that, she's like, really? I was like, yeah, I'm going to add cartoon backgrounds and all this crazy stuff. And she's like, do you think you can do that? I was like, yeah. She goes, oh my God. And she got super excited. So then we filmed. And then that same night, I quickly spliced together just a few seconds of the Disney one. And I sent it to the director, and then she lost her shit. And she's like, this is so much more than I even imagined it ever being. And then that's when I was like, I can do this. I can pull this out. And then, yeah, it's given me so much motivation to make more content. A bit too much motivation, because then I went out and bought a MacBook Pro, which I'm going to go return today because I don't need it. But I was like, I'm going to buy a really good laptop because I'm going to be doing all this content. But I was like, I've got a Mac Mini. I don't need a MacBook Pro, so I'm returning it today. Although the new MacBook Pros are really freaking nice. I just can't justify it, but they're really nice. Yeah, say yes and then figure it out later. That's exactly it. And it was worth it. And then because of that, which I did this all for free because I want the show to be the best that it can be. I also wanted to challenge myself, and I wanted to not only prove to myself, but prove to other people that I'm not just some TikToker who makes some crappy content and it was just a fluke that I got a following. But where was I going with this? My brain just froze. Oh, but because of it, they then asked me to film the musical itself. And now they don't pay me for that, but they sell the DVD to the cast, and then I get whatever proceeds they make from that. So yeah, I'm going to make a little bit of money doing this. I'm not expecting to make a lot of money, but this rough cut took me about 8 hours of editing. And then the proper one, I'm using 2 camera angles. I'm really going to try to tweak the sound so it sounds as good as possible. And, I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to color correct and stuff. And so, if I can make even $100 doing it, that's a win to me. It's been really great, dude. And Mr. FOV, not only the M3, I got the M3 Pro. So I got the MacBook Pro with the mid-tier M3 in it, because there's the plain M3, the M3 Pro, and the M3 Max. The M3 Max is stupidly priced, so there's no way I was even looking at that. But I got the M3 Pro, and I edited this whole video on that little laptop, and I ran out of hard drive space, but the laptop didn't stop. Whereas my Mac Mini slows down once in a while on my Minecraft videos, which are considerably shorter. Mind you, I do use more effects in my Mac Mini stuff, but that's 1080p footage. This is full 4K footage that I did. And it was 3 hours of footage versus 20-minute video that I do. But the laptop just didn't stop. And then the monitor, the screen on it is amazing. So it really helps with color correction. But I just can't justify having both a Mac Mini and a MacBook, because then the Mac Mini is just not going to get used, and it's only 6 months old. So I can't justify keeping it. I would really like to, but I'm not making money doing content. If I was making money doing this like I used to be, then I could justify and be it's an investment. I'll make the money back. Right now I'm not making money, so I'm not going to make the money back. So I just can't justify it. But man, it's a really nice computer. It's a really, really nice computer. You'd get $100 and then DVD sales. Yeah, that's pretty much they're not paying me anything, but I'll get the DVD sales. But it's really and it's a huge upgrade from what they used to give us, because the videos they used to give us were not good. like I said, they would hire a bunch of college students. They didn't actually care, and it was all done in one take. They didn't know the show, so there would be those moments where somebody would be talking, and you would see the camera pan over to them really quickly and then zoom in, and it's just like, it was really disorganized. The exposures were all wrong. You know, you would have like hot spots to the point where it was just white. You couldn't even see their eyes or anything. So it was kind of a mess. Dr. H, thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. I hope you're doing well. Thank you. Thank you for the new the compliment on the new angle.
Welcome back, friend.
Thank you, Dr. H. I appreciate that. How are you? Thank you for the sub. That's really kind of you. Yeah, Night Owl. I was really, really surprised about that. I didn't realize it had gotten that many views. I filmed like an hour and a half last night. I'm going to film another like 2 hours today and then try to throw another video together because it's been a while. But yeah, the videos are doing better than I thought. I'm really excited to see where it goes. I'm having a lot of fun with Minecraft. But yeah, the whole editing thing, I'm having so much fun doing it. And just the fact that these people hired me to do this, and I personally think my quality is way higher than anything that they've ever given us before. It's still not great because obviously I'm not standing at the camera. I can't tweak things as things happen, right? Like this footage that I filmed, it was filmed in 4K, but you could tell it's got a muddy brown color, and I don't know what to do to fix that. Obviously, I think I need to bring up more of the saturation. It's a bit too low, but it's filmed in 4K, but I made the stupid mistake. I'm using the stock lens on it so I could zoom in because all my lenses are prime lenses. And so I'm using the stock lens so I can zoom in because I'm actually set up at the very back of the house. But I don't know what I did wrong that it completely zoomed back out. So I ended up getting a whole bunch of the audience and the empty theater space. So I had to crop it in to get the theater, to get the stage. And then when I do these close-ups, I'm cropping even more. So like this is way below 1080p that I'm using here. So I'm going to bring both my zoom lenses and use both my cameras and have them both zoomed in. So hopefully at least one of them will be right. And then that'll give me the full 4K. And then when I do the zoom ins, they'll still be at 1080p when it's like cropped into the people. So it'll still be super sharp. But like the quality overall for somebody who's not standing at the camera, I think it's pretty good. I think it was the one with the LE, Dr. H. But how are you? I hope you're doing really well. But this is the conclusion to the first half of the show. This is when, so if you've never seen the movie or the show or like the musical or whatever, basically these three women work at an office. The one that's in the middle here is the new girl at the office. She just got divorced. She's never worked a day in her life. The one that's walking away, that's like right by my window, she is like the veteran at the office. She, in the movie, she's actually the one that trained my character, and then I became CEO and she's still nobody. So she's just been stepped over her whole life. The blonde is hated by everybody because I'm constantly telling people I'm banging her. And so she's seen as this big floozy, and then she finds out that I've been telling everybody this. So they all get fed up, and the girl right here accidentally puts rat poison in my coffee. I don't drink it because I think it tastes bad, but she thinks she poisoned me. So then I threaten them, and then they tie me up, and then they hold me hostage until they can blackmail me into not, ratting them out. And then they'll use whatever they find on me to make sure that happens. So this is the scene where they finally agree that they're done. They don't want to deal with me anymore. They're going to stand up for themselves for the first time, and they're holding me hostage. Okay, come on. No, go further. Come on. So like here they have me tied up to the bed. But yeah, so like I think that angle is really cool. But look, like this is where they're kidnapping me. You're JK? JK who? Yeah, that's me on stage. Hence why I have this like nasty stash and mutton chops. Oh, I've never watched Step Brothers. I've only seen a couple of scenes. I've only ever seen a couple of scenes of Step Bros. But yeah, it's a really, really fun show. It's like ridiculous. It's over the top, and like I'm such a jerk. This is like this is the moment where the audience realizes how much of a jerk I am. So I've walked in and she's using the fax machine or whatever, and paper goes everywhere, or the Xerox machine, and paper goes everywhere. So I step in, I yell at her for making a mess of the place, and then as I'm walking away, I might be in the middle of the line here, but I go, "Hey Bob, I've got a joke for you. It's a real killer." This is where everybody goes, "Oh, he's that kind of jerk." Because at first, like you see me trying to look up her skirt and stuff, but I just come off like a perv. But this is where I prove that I'm just a complete jerk. I've got a brand new joke for you, and it's a real killer. What do you call a woman who's lost 95% of her intelligence? I give up. Divorced. Good one, Frank. It's funny, right? Like. And you could just hear the audience going, "Oh," because that's the moment that I'm like that I prove to them that I'm a complete and utter scumbag. You almost hated me for a second, right? It's really gross, but that's the whole point of my character. I always play the bad guy, but normally when I play the bad guy, you have to like hate me but love me, so you have kind of that feeling of like you want me to lose, but you can't help but like me. So I always kind of play that kind of bad guy. But this guy, you have to just hate by the end of the show. And so the whole point is by the end, you feel justified in everything that happened to me. And that's the moment where everybody goes, "Oh, that's the kind of jerk he is." There's a couple of things. There's one line in particular that's written to be a very racist line, and they've edited it so it doesn't come off as racist anymore. It's harder to tell. Basically, my wife walks in, because the whole time I'm cheating on her, and my wife walks in and she's like, "I want to go on vacation 4 weeks in Italy." And the line that's written for me is, "I can't spend 4 weeks away from work paddling around in a spaghetti love boat." But there's a derogatory term for Italian people, and that's usually what the line is you use the derogatory term to show that I'm a bigot. Because one of the lines that gets repeated a lot in the show is that I'm a sexist, egotistical, lying, hypocritical bigot. And so that line in particular is to show off how I am a bigot. Then that joke is to show off I'm a sexist. I'm egotistical because I'm constantly telling everybody how I'm like this genius at work. And I'm hypocritical because I yell at other people for being disgusting, and then I do everything that I tell them not to do. And so like, it's the only line that's been changed, and it kind of loses its effect, but I get why they changed it. But yeah, my character's just supposed to have no redeeming factors. Like, he's supposed to just be gross. Hence why they made me grow this thing to make it look worse. And then like I slick back my hair and everything. Like, I look completely gross on stage. It sounds very similar to the name Diego. It's not really a term that's used anymore, but it was very common back in the day. No, it starts with a D as well. It sounds like Diego, but you just don't pronounce the E sound at the beginning. But it's one of those terms that's not used anymore. It used to be used a lot. And it's a derogatory term, but again, it's not common anymore. So I don't think it would have the same effect. But yeah, so that's the line. But now I just say a spaghetti love boat, which still, like, it's supposed to insinuate that, but like, it's not very obvious. And so like, when I first read it, it didn't really click. And then I watched a different production of it where they said the original line, and I was like, oh, that's what he's trying to say. But yeah, it's my character's supposed to just be like completely evil, and it's a fun time, because then the girls completely beat me up, and you know, they tie me to a bed. They actually ripped my shirt on the second night because I fight so much, and the girl playing Violet is so strong. Like her grip does not give up. And so I'm pulling and fighting with her. And then we get backstage. She's like, I ripped your shirt. And I look and there's like this huge rip. And I was like, oh crap. Just because I'm fighting so much. But that's the whole point, right? In the original production, we didn't have the budget for it. In the original production, there's supposed to be a garage door. And then they open the door and I'm actually supposed to be hanging and tied to the door. But we didn't have the budget. So they put me in a bed. But yeah, it's a really fun show. And it's really fun being that slimy and that gross, especially because the two women that I'm the most gross to, I'm really, really close with. So they can play with it really well. It's been cool. Yeah, it's acting. The only reason is because they do multiple scripts. You know, these companies that run these shows. In case you don't know how this stuff works, basically you send out to a company who owns the rights to the show and you rent out the show from them. And they'll have variants on the script based on where you're doing it. So like if you're doing it at a high school, they're not going to say anything. So I'm assuming this is the high school script. No, it can't be because we still say shit and stuff. But I'm assuming it's the more cleaned up version of the script. I'm sure they have the not cleaned up version. But the company that I'm with tends to be a little bit safer. They don't really like to push the boundaries. They don't really like to do anything too crazy. Like they're doing Rent next, and that's really edgy for them. And Rent isn't really that edgy, but it's really edgy for them. And so like I'm auditioning for Rent. I'm really excited to try out for that. But I'm assuming that's what it is that they got the cleaner script because they tend to play it a bit safer. Because I've done other shows where they've completely gotten rid of certain lines where it's like, but that's the line. And they're like, no, we don't want to offend anybody. And it's like, oh, okay. I would have been okay with saying the line. It wouldn't have really bothered me too much as an immigrant. I feel like I have enough experience to be able to use that word responsibly. But yeah, I feel like it lost its power. Like the line lost its power without that word. Obviously there are certain words that I would have a really hard time. I've been parts in shows where there are like some really blatantly racist things being said and they've cut them out. I don't know how I would feel about saying that, like, you know, the N-word and stuff that's written into the script. And that would be a harder bridge for me to cross. But yeah, it's, I just feel like that joke kind of got killed because of it. But yeah, the whole show is really fun. And the women that I'm working with are really, really good about it. They've done a really good job at, you know, rolling with the punches of everything that I have to do. Yeah, it's been a fun time. It's been a really fun time. Yeah, it doesn't hit as hard. Exactly. Yeah, it's just, it's tough. It's really tough. I've never had to say that word, but I've thought of it because I might end up having to one day, right? Like I've like I said, I've been in productions where that is in the original script and then they cut it or they cut the whole scene or whatever, but it's still a possibility. And it's the, how do you approach a moment like that? Because it's written in the show, right? So it's not like I'm saying it because I want to be edgy or because I want to like be some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of bigot, really. So like, I know that me saying it won't be in the same way, but I'm still going to feel really uncomfortable saying it, especially because I'm somebody who's on the internet, and you know how the internet is. They'll take something like that and run with it and act like I did it out of my own fun. So that part scares me. But yeah, it's kind of rough. It's kind of rough. But yeah, this show has been a really cool experience, you know. The blonde and the head secretary, I guess, they've become like some of my closest friends, and it's been really cool sharing the stage with them. I've had a lot of fun working with them. I've worked with a lot of actors who I've had a lot of fun with, but it's been a really long time since I've clicked so well on stage with a couple of actors the way that I click with them, because both of them will just take whatever I throw at them as an actor and they'll just run with it. And that's how Kat and I clicked in the first place when we were doing our audition. There's a scene at the end of the show where my boss shows up and she's trying to rat me out and I'm trying to stop her from ratting me out. And so I just went up and I pushed her out of the way, and she instantly did like a cartoony flip around, and then she came and pushed me out of the way, and I did one too. Like, we instantly started playing without ever having exchanged any words. And it was just instant chemistry on stage. It was really, really, really nice to have that happen. Usually you have to kind of find what works between two actors and then you find the chemistry. But like Kat and I had instant chemistry, like right away. And then Kendra and I, she and I didn't actually interact until we did our scene together. But I was already really impressed with her by her vocal range because she's a professional opera singer. So her voice is out of this world. But as soon as we started working together, I saw that she was more than willing to just be open to stuff. I felt really uncomfortable, but that kind of had to do with the fact that like I think she's absolutely gorgeous. So like obviously being a complete perv to her just felt really weird. But she was just willing to run with everything, and it's been really nice having that kind of safety on stage where like I've had a really hard time memorizing these lines, and if I drop something, they'll pick it up on my behalf, no problem. They'll save me every time. Just like I would do the same for them. Like Kendra forgot to come on stage one night, and Kat and I just like started going off because the line is supposed to be interrupted, because basically she's telling me that she's not like just some girl to her. Like she's not just some girl to me because I call her my girl. She's like, I'm not your wife. I'm not your slave, I'm not whatever. And then she's like, and then Kendra walks in and she goes, and I'm not your mistress, because I've been telling everybody I'm sleeping with this girl. Hart's been telling everybody that he's sleeping with Dora Lee. And so that's the cue for the next line. But Kendra didn't walk on. And so Kat was like, and I'm not. So I interrupted when I saw Kendra wasn't in. And right away I was like, who else are you going to throw in there? My sister, my cousin, the girl down the street. And then Kendra walked in. But it's like, we're both willing to kind of, we're all willing to like jump in and help each other whenever something goes wrong, which is really, really nice. And it makes you feel really safe, which is something that is hard to kind of explain unless you're up on stage, because it's really scary when something goes wrong and you're just left floundering on your own. So overall, it's been a really fun experience, Gave him permission. If Samuel L. Jackson gave me permission, then I'm allowed to. But yeah, it's been a cool time, and I always like throw little things in there to kind of try to make them laugh, or like I mix things up a little bit just like they do. Yeah, it's really cool. It's been really cool. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. That's why I haven't been making content. I've been so busy with all that and rehearsals and performances and just sheer exhaustion. It's really, really hard doing this kind of thing, especially because like Ian and I interchange. So I have a whole other set of stuff that I have to do that I don't get to practice as much. And so it's pretty stressful. It's kind of exhausting when you're really trying to like, hone your own thing. But then I also have to do something totally different. And it's the reverse for Ian, where he has to hone his own thing. And then he also has to jump on and do what I'm doing, without getting as much rehearsal as I've had. And so it's really like, it's exhausting. It's just exhausting, and it can be embarrassing sometimes. Now I've kind of leaned into it is what it is. Why am I not? Why can't I sign in? What the heck, man? I'm trying to sign into Instagram. I want to show you guys, but it's not letting me sign in. Wait, that's not it. I want to show you when I'm doing the backup stuff, because you could see that I can't dance. Not just can't dance, but I look really confused on stage the whole time. That's the last thing I'll show you, and then I got to get going because I got to run to Best Buy. But am I in now? Am I in? Yes, I'm in. Where is it? Come on, Instagrams, show me. Ha, here it is. Can I download it? Can I not download it? That's kind of dumb. I thought I could download it. I guess not. Okay, well, I'll just show you this way anyway. Where is it? Where is it? Ha, there it is. So this is me in this dance number. So a bit of a backstory. This is one of the dance numbers that we've been practicing for forever, and I was just not clicking with it. I was really struggling with it, and the night before, like 2 nights before opening, I asked the director if I could just step out and not do this number and the opening number, because I just couldn't figure out where to go. 1, the steps just weren't sticking. 2, it's very different when you're doing it by yourself, because I would do it every time they rehearsed, but I would stand like off in the corner by myself, just kind of working the steps through. And 3, even though I could do the steps right, when you're standing with somebody, it changes the way you do the steps, because now suddenly you don't have the same space you used to have. So all those 3 factors would lead to either me standing in the completely wrong spot throughout the whole number, or me doing the steps wrong and standing in the right spot, or me doing both in the wrong spot and the wrong steps. And so I asked her to step down, and the director was like, okay, fine, we'll rework it and we'll get it to work. But then Ian didn't step down. And so the cast would then have to learn 2 ways to do the show. And so opening night, I was like, should I just do it? Not opening night, but the night that I was going to open as the backup. I was like, should I just do it? Because I don't want to mess with everybody. So the stage manager was like, just try it. If it's really bad, we'll rework it. But if not, just do it. So this night I did it, and I hadn't practiced it in many, many days. And although it doesn't look great, I actually did better than I expected. I got through the number and I didn't do anything crazy. Now these are the backup girls, backup women. So the one in purple is the one that was wearing gray before, Kat. And then the one in pink was the girl that was in purple standing in the middle in the last clip that I showed. And so here they're describing what you do at the office, how everything works out. And she's basically telling her all the standards of most office places, where it's like, make sure you don't trust anybody because they're all going to backstab you. Don't break any of the rules of this place. So like, you can't have any stuff on your desk. You can't like gossip. You can't, joke around. No breaks except for the ones that are assigned, all that crap. And here I'm just a background office worker. You can tell that I look really different too in comparison to how I look as the boss, because here I don't gel my hair for this one. I'm wearing a suit that's brown and kind of gross looking, so like I look way less business-like. But watch my dance number. I'm not good at this. I'm not a dancer. It's when I get in the lineup that I screw it up. Or in the group, actually. Watch, you're going to see me walk away from the group and then turn around and come back. Because the guy with the gray hair pulled me back. He's like, you're here. Right here, watch. Look, I'm walking away and he grabs me. He's like, you're over here. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. And then in this lineup, look, I'm looking down because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to follow their steps. That must be terrifying. It is. It really, really is. Whoops. It really is. It's I like to feel very, very solid in whatever I'm doing on stage. This show overall has been a real mess scheduling wise, and it's the theater's fault. It's nobody else's fault. Basically, because of COVID, they double cast now. Because if any of us catch COVID, there's somebody to back us up. And that's what happened with us. The blonde haired actress, or the character that's blonde, the actress is not, neither of them are. The character that's blonde the backup actress caught COVID. And so the lead actress had to do both shows. And so the idea is supposed to be in reverse. If the lead gets sick, then the backup can do it. But it's also not fair that they're going to put in all the work and never get any stage time. So they do get some shows to kind of, give them their hard work, to give them their moment. And so that's why they have two casts. But the theater was rented out for a certain amount of time. And so they planned everything around it. And when you rent out a play, you have to give them a time window and a location that you're doing it in. You can't just rent it out. And so they had everything set. And then the theater went, guess what? We're taking away 2 weeks. And so the theater the company had to rework everything. And so they had to cut a bunch of stuff. And so rehearsal wise. And so we all had way less time to work. And we had a double cast. So it was even less time. So we would rehearse, and they had already cut the hours that we normally rehearsed because it was just too much of an investment for a lot of people. And so it was a really, really tight schedule. And on the nights that we would rehearse, we'd have to split it down the middle because obviously the backup cast also had to do stuff. It didn't always work out that way. So it was a lot less even than it should have been. But it just led to us all being way underprepared. Thankfully, it came together. But I hadn't really had an opportunity to dance with the group. This number in particular, I had done 3 times with the group before doing that night, before that recording. 3 times ever in the whole time we ran the show. That is not a lot of time for us to do this. And so it was terrifying being on that stage with all of them who know the steps and then me. Now I pulled it off okay, but yeah, it was really scary being up there. I was terrified the whole time. And I'm still terrified because I got to do it again on Saturday. And I haven't done it since this recording. And so it's scary. It's really scary being up there and having to do that, especially because I'm not confident in it, right? Whereas as my lead stuff, I'm confident enough that if I screw up, I can cover it. But here, if I screw up, because I'm one of the backup people, I'm supposed to blend. And if I screw up, it stands out. Whereas as the lead, I'm supposed to stand out. So if I screw up, it doesn't matter. So it's actually a lot scarier for me. And I mean, I kind of pulled it off, but yeah, most of the time on stage when I'm doing those numbers, it's me going, do I stand here? And somebody in the cast going, nope. And I think they're frustrated at this point with me, but at first it was really funny because I never stood in the right spot, but it is what it is, it is what it is. Yeah. Ty went on the worst night too. Ty went on our worst performance out of all of them. But yeah, he got to see it live and it's different when it's live. The recording is one thing, seeing it live is very different because you can kind of see it in the video clip that I showed. I'm not going to play the clip, but if you look in the corner, right where I was switching, where I was pointing as I was switching, you can see a hand kind of sticking out from the ground. That's our conductor. The whole band is under there and it's a fairly decent sized band. And you can feel it and hear it that the band is there. They go through the speakers as well, but having it live is very different than the microphone picking it up. And obviously my voice is very loud, so the microphone isn't really boosting me too much. It's mostly my vocals. And so hearing my loud voice and then the live band and all that really adds to it. And the lighting looks different on camera than it does in real life. It's a much better experience in real life than it is on video. I've tried to make it as interesting as possible in video. But it was really cool. And it was cool to have Ty there, I wish other people could have come, but you guys all live on the other side of the world. But it's been a really, really cool time. It's been a really cool experience. It's been scary. And like I said, I haven't done this in a long time, so I'm really rusty. So I'm proud of what I have accomplished, but it's still scary. It's still scary. I'm really upset that it's almost over and tomorrow we start and I'm not looking forward to that. I start the ending of it, but it is what it is. Anyways, Venom, how's it going? Welcome. You're literally coming in right as I'm leaving. I do. I'm in a musical and it's based in the 70s. So I have to have the mutton chop mustache thing for my character. I hate it. It's getting to that point where it's starting to irritate my skin because it's getting so long that it's curling and starting scratch my skin. So my lip is always really sensitive now. Not my lip, but this part of my lip. It's always really, really sensitive now because it's always scratchy. Can't wait to shave it. That was the girl who plays the blonde. The woman who plays the blonde. I gotta really get out of that habit. The woman who plays the blonde. She is from a family of farmers. And obviously I have to like do a bunch of gross stuff and like hit on her all the time. And then obviously I've got like a real life crush on her. And I was talking to her and I was like, is your dad going to shoot me when he sees the show? She's like, no. But then yesterday she's like, but my brother's going on Sunday. Now he will shoot you. So you should run away. I was like, oh God. It's like, I'm going to shave as soon as I walk off stage after the bows, I'm shaving. I don't want to cut it, Wewin, because I like how it looks on stage, because it looks very thick and very, very dark on stage. If I trim it, it looks a lot lighter, and I need it to look really, really thick and have that like really handlebar mustache look. So I don't want to shave it because it works really well on stage at the length that it's at. As you can tell, it's kind of thin here, right? So with the length that it's at, it really doesn't show on stage that it's that thin. But yeah, normally I normally like I chop it off here and I trim right around the lips when I have my mustache, but I'm just not liking the mustache look. I'm just not liking it. I don't know. I kind of liked it when I first did it. Obviously, I haven't shaved since the last show, but I'm shaving tomorrow to get nice and clean and get like the really sharp mutton chops again. But yeah, I'm kind of not liking it. I feel I can see the way people treat me when I'm out there. People treat me like a creep. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna run because her brother is a farmer. Canadians don't usually have guns, but farmers do. I don't want to get beat up. I gotta win them over before that. Jeez. No, but yeah, I think this is the best mustache I've ever had. It's a little bit scraggly now, but it's the like the thickest mustache I've ever had. And the mutton chops actually came in pretty decently, but yeah, I don't like how I look. But when I'm in like full makeup and hair, I totally look like a 70s business slum dog. It works really well. It works really, really well. I'm really, really proud of myself for this show. Whoops, what happened? That was weird. I'm really proud of myself for the show. I've been having a lot of fun with the show, and it's been really interesting, like I don't think I showed. Yeah, I didn't show the very ending of the clip where you can see where you can like really get a nice close up of me. This is the end of the scene where my wife is like telling me she wants to go on vacation and I'm just being a complete jerk.
When you have time,
You got a pay raise? Nice, we win, nice. And yeah, I bet you he's got a shotgun too. But like, look how well the mustache and mutton chops work to make me look like a slime ball 70s boss. So like if I trim the mustache, it's less noticeable. Let's see how loud I get. So like the mustache just adds to the whole grossness of my character. And 3 months back as well. Nice. So you're going to get like a nice big paycheck. That's awesome. Want to buy me my MacBook for me so I don't feel guilty? I'm kidding. I'm not actually asking. I know some people actually do stuff like that. But yeah, that's why that's why I'm not trimming it or anything. I want it to look gross. I might trim. I've got a couple of like, this one's a little bit straggly. I might trim like a little bit, but it works really well. Boy, do I look tired today. Ugh. I'm also not shaven, so that doesn't help. And I'm wearing friggin' this. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. Oh, we win. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I should get out of here. I gotta go to Best Buy, drop off some stuff, and then I gotta make myself dinner. And then I got to go to my audition. Oh man, I'm so busy right now. I don't miss being this busy. I don't miss it at all. But yes, tomorrow is theater night, right? Yeah, tomorrow I'm at the theater. So no stream tomorrow. No stream for the weekend. Really. No stream for the weekend. Because I've got a show tomorrow. I've got 2 shows on Saturday, and then I got a show on Sunday, and the closing night party and stuff and work and all that. So I probably won't be back until like Tuesday, maybe. And then it's back to regular life, depending on when rehearsals start for this new show. If I get into this new show, it depends on when rehearsals start. And then it won't be as complicated as this show has been. It'll probably be more time consuming because this show doesn't have as many characters. So it's probably going to be a bit wilder for me, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out when we get there. Yeah, we win. I'm glad that you were able to pop in for a bit. Yeah, I bet you're tired. It's late over there. But yeah, I'll be back, and I really appreciate everybody hanging out. I'm sorry, I didn't play anything. I didn't have anything planned. I don't have anything installed. But I wanted to show you guys a little bit of what I've been doing because I've been away for so long, and a lot of you are never going to see it. So, but yeah, you saw a little bit of what I do, and it's been really fun. It's been really exciting. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I will be back on like Tuesday or something. Keep an eye out on my Minecraft channel if you don't follow it. It's Retro RFTFT on YouTube. I am currently halfway through recording a video. I'm going to record the rest tonight, probably, after my audition, or tomorrow before I go to the theater. So I can hopefully have it up by like Monday or Tuesday if I get a chance to sit down and actually edit for a few hours. And then we'll go back to kind of the regularly scheduled program of, show of streams and my Minecraft show. But yeah, I like the just chatting too. It probably wasn't a good idea because now my throat is tired. After the vocal injury, talking really is painful. My throat hurts now. But oh well, I missed you guys, so I needed to. I will see you all in a few days, Monday, Tuesday, kind of depending on how I feel energy-wise. I'm going to feel really drained because emotionally it's going to be hard to walk away from the show. It's been the first one in a long time, so it's going to be kind of rough, but we'll do what we do. Geisbach, hello. How's it going? You popped in literally as I'm saying goodbye. I miss you, man. I hope you're doing well. I hope life is treating you well. But yeah, let's hope this weekend goes smoothly, and then I can have a really cool recording to show. But yeah, anyways, thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.